YouTube? It's Jeff Tuffner here with episode 12 of the Glorious Podcast, reviewing the July 17th edition of Monday Night RAW. Let me just start off by saying I'm such a dumbass because yesterday, right before RAW, about a half an hour, a little before that, I put up a video on who I thought Kurt Angle was going to reveal, whoever he's been talking to in the past month or whatever. I said in the video it would be Dixie Carter, and I was pretty sure it would be. If it wasn't her, I was thinking Stephanie McMahon maybe. And I'm just so stupid because I forgot to even mention Jason Jordan, or American Alpha rather. Because I even said earlier in the week, I said it. I was in just such a rush to get the video up before Raw that I was just I forgot all about them. And I actually remember saying it was Jason Jordan. I remember thinking earlier in the week, last week, that it would be Jason Jordan. Because if you look at it, we haven't seen Jason Jordan on SmackDown. Chad Gable's been wrestling a lot of singles matches lately. He had that match with AJ Styles. What was that, last week or 2 weeks ago or whatever? And he's been wrestling singles. We haven't seen Jason Jordan, so I speculated immediately. The fact that Chad Gable was wrestling a lot of one-on-one matches and stuff, and there was no signs of Jason Jordan at all, I figured it would be him. And I'm so stupid for not even thinking that. Because it's I knew it all along, and then I forgot about it, and I legit even, I forgot about American Alpha even being there, and then it kind of gave it away. WWE, typical WWE, screwing things up. They kind of gave it away again. Right before the show started, people were filing in the arena and whatever. Multiple people actually, snapped a pic that pretty much had the American Alpha thing on the Titantron or whatever. They were probably testing it out, and of course they must have not known fans were already in the arena. So that picture was all over the internet before the show started. So they kind of gave it away. That kind of pretty much said American Alpha, and I'm just sitting there I forgot all about American Alpha, and I was thinking it would be Jason Jordan, so I wasn't surprised. Some thought it would be Chad Gable. I didn't think it would be. I think it simply would be Jason Jordan because we haven't seen him in forever, and Chad Gable's been kind of wrestling one-on-one matches, which is kind of weird, being that he was in with a tag team, the American Alpha tag team. So, and I can go on and rant about the fact that it appears they've split up American Alpha, I guess. I'm guessing basically this means, they've mentioned multiple times. There was an interview after the show. I did not watch that, but Kurt did mention on Raw, he said the newest member of the Raw brand, Jason Jordan. So Chad Gable's still on SmackDown. So I'm guessing they've split American Alpha up, which is just an awful decision in many ways. I hate the idea of how they split him up. It's just so stupid. Apparently Vince has been high on Jason Jordan and thinks he has potential as a singles competitor, which I guess he does. I don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to, his gimmick's going to probably be like Kurt Angle's gimmick, kind of just like the Olympic hero or whatever. I don't know. He wasn't even an Olympic hero. But he wasn't even in the Olympics. Wasn't that Chad Gable the one who was in the Olympics or whatever? I don't remember, but anyway, he's probably going to have a similar gimmick to Kurt Angle. I don't know what this means for Chad Gable and SmackDown. Let the speculation begin on what they're going to do with him. I've already heard that Shelton Benjamin, what they could be doing, this is actually a very interesting move if they do go this route. Shelton Benjamin reportedly signed a WWE contract or whatever last week or whatever. Remember, he was supposed to come back right after the brand split last year, but then he got injured or whatever, and that held him back. Now finally he's apparently signed a contract to be on SmackDown or whatever. So apparently many people are saying that Chad Gable will end up teaming with him, and they'll be a new American Alpha, and they'll do the gimmick. Basically, if you remember back in NXT, how they kind of American Alpha paired up. They were both singles competitors before, then they ended up pairing up. So they might kind of redo that gimmick on the main roster. And then end up having Gable team with Shelton Benjamin, and they could be another tag team. I've heard that could be what they're doing. That could be possibly what they're gonna do. I think Gable will be fine as a singles wrestler. He could definitely wrestle. We saw that match with Styles 2 weeks ago, so that was a good match. So I don't know. I feel like that's what could be going there. But as for Raw, I kind of feel like it was a letdown almost. I don't know, because it wasn't even the main event. They didn't end the show. I feel like they were hyping this up a lot. What will be, and it was in the middle of the show, and I was like, as soon as I saw it was in the middle of the show, I felt like it wasn't going to be anything crazy, anything groundbreaking or whatever. So, I don't know. I felt like it was almost a letdown a bit. I don't know. The show as a whole last night, I honestly thought the show sucked, to be honest with you guys. I watched that whole show, and it was good kind of start, and about, the first hour was pretty decent. I was like, it's not bad. from like 9 o'clock until the Kurt Angle announcement, it was just so bad. I was like, I couldn't even want to. I didn't even want to watch anymore. I was like, just wanted to turn the TV off because it was just like Finn Balor versus Elias Sampson for like the second week in a row, and they're doing it again next week too. And it's like they went on to announce later they're gonna have like a no disqualification match again. It's like, dude, how many more times do we have to see this match? It's like the 750th match they've had. So I'm getting tired of seeing that match already. And it does look like, well, a good note. It looks like we are getting that Finn Balor-Bray Wyatt feud that we were supposed to get a while back. But it looks like we're getting that at SummerSlam. It was rumored. Bray was on the Titantron saying stuff, as usual, that nobody could make out to even be what he was actually saying. But looks like we'll get that at SummerSlam. So that feud could be interesting. We'll definitely probably see a return to Finn Balor with the demon gimmick that it's disappeared since SummerSlam last year, I think, or whatever. But I don't know. They're having another match next week. No disqualification. I'm surprised Finn Balor didn't get another concussion. Elias Sampson slammed that guitar over his head. He had to get like stitches or something in the side of his head. I mean, that had to be like one of those breakable guitars, though. Like, like not real, like, something that breaks easy. That kind of material or whatever. Because he slammed that on him. Anyway, we had to see that match again. That was boring. In the middle of the show, cruiserweights. I don't know what to say about the cruiserweights anymore, guys. Every week I come on here and say I don't have interest in them. It's just because there's nothing to them. It's like it's just all about, I don't know. Like, it's good wrestler. They can wrestle. That's the thing. It's just they don't have like really a story behind them, and it's just like nobody really cares. It's the new piss break match. I mean, 5 years ago it was the Divas match. As everybody, that's what everybody went to go take a piss, grab something to eat if you're at the show, whatever. It's just now it's the cruiserweights, and you get two of them throughout the show. I mean, when I was at Raw, what was it? It was the last Raw before WrestleMania, and I remember sitting there, and like the cruiserweight match came on, and like everybody got up to go take a piss, grab something to eat. It was just like nobody wants to watch the cruiserweights. It's so bad. But I don't know. That started it. The big Cass Enzo thing, that was pretty lame. I don't know. Another shitty, like, this is what I was talking about. It was this part of the show, and it was just like, I don't care. We all know it's going to be Cass versus Big Show at SummerSlam. We know where that's going, and then obviously Finn Balor, Elias Sampson thing. I mean, the guitar spot at the end of the match was cool, but other than that, like, I just don't want to see them wrestle anymore. I don't really have interest in their like feud or whatever. Thank God it looks like it's coming to an end, and Finn Balor's going to move on to a Bray Wyatt feud. And then another cruiserweight match. Daivari defeats Tozawa in a match. I don't know. It was a weird match. They like stopped the match. Tozawa never really like passed out or anything or whatever. The referee just stopped the match randomly, so that was awkward. But yeah, overall, like that part of the show was just like the middle part. It was really, it was a lame part. I mean, there was nothing really interesting going on there. You could have easily just like, if you go back and you haven't watched Raw yet, I'd probably say just watch about like the first 50 minutes, skip to the Kurt Angle announcement, and then just watch from there till the end of the show, because the middle of it was just pointless to even watch. Curious to see what like the hour by hour ratings were for the show, because I feel like a lot of people like tuned out through maybe the second hour, but there wasn't really anything on last night else, like other than Raw. Like, usually there's competition toward Raw going against Raw or whatever on Monday nights, but I don't think there was anything else on like that people were really interested in watching last night. Anyway, what else happened? Beginning of the show, like I said, Intercontinental Champion The Miz and The Miz Taraj confront Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. That actually wasn't a bad segment. I feel like Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, like they have like a good chemistry or whatever. I feel like when they like, if they have another feud, remember they had a feud like 2 years ago right after they broke the Shield up. They had a Hell in a Cell match and everything. Their feud was actually good. Like, that was when Dean Ambrose was good. And he wasn't bad last night. Dean Ambrose was actually a little better than usual. I don't know. But it appears what they're going for here is something like a tag match, a mini Shield reunion, not with Roman Reigns, obviously. It would just be Rollins and Ambrose. Guess because they have nothing else to do for Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose for SummerSlam, they're just going to throw them together, put them in a tag team, and they're going to take on The Miz Taraj and Bo Dallas, The Miz, and Curtis Axel. I don't know, they're doing the match next week, handicap, 3-on-2. I thought they would do it at SummerSlam, something like that. I guess not. Maybe, like, I don't know, Seth turns on Dean or whatever, or Dean turns on Seth. Then we get the triple threat match for the Intercontinental title. I'm looking like that's what they're going to do since they're doing the tag match next week. Anyway, that opens the show. I kind of enjoyed that segment. The women's segment, Bayley defeats Alexa Bliss. Nia Jax comes out. Sasha Banks. They all get into a brawl outside the ring. Obviously, you know what this is building toward. a fatal 4-way match at SummerSlam, and there are, as you could tell, triple threat match maybe for the Intercontinental title, fatal 4-way for the Raw Women's title, fatal 4-way for the Universal title. Already looking like we're going to see a bunch of multi-man matches. I hate how they're doing so many. It's okay to have one here, one there, but the fact that they are just overloading the SummerSlam card with just fatal 4-way, triple threat matches, it's just pissing me off. Can we just have some one? It's going to be like there's going to end up being like one or two one-on-one matches at SummerSlam, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, like I've said before, I like the idea. Like, I get their idea of how, hey, they want to get everyone on the card. They don't want to leave anyone out. But it's just like it's just so like lazy booking. It's like they don't want to make one-on-one feuds anymore. It's almost like you always got to have these like giant matches, and can't just have a good one-on-one match sometimes. Anyway, but yeah, that's just gonna lead to a women's match. They announced Sasha Banks versus Bayley next week. I don't remember. Did they say did they announce it was a number one contenders match? I don't remember them saying it was for the title. I think it is though. But I don't know. I'm surprised they're giving that away on a pay-per-view. I mean, on an episode of Raw, not a pay-per-view. Sasha vs. Bayley's pay-per-view gold right there. But they're just going to throw a match on Raw next week. They announced like 3 matches for Raw next week, too. Obviously, I said Elias Samson versus Finn Balor, no disqualification. I forgot the other one. But yeah, there's about an hour of Raw right there for you, already announced. But yeah, those segments were good. They took up the majority of like the first hour, too, and it was like really 50 minutes, I think. Them 2 segments alone, the match and the opening segment went. And then obviously the Kurt Angle announcement. I've already went on about this in the beginning. I honestly felt like a letdown, to be honest. I felt like I was expecting more out of this. It would be bigger, but I don't know what the hell's going from. They're gonna go from here, where they're gonna go. But I mean, is Jason Jordan gonna get like a push now? I'm guessing something like that. Whatever the deal is, I don't know. Felt like a letdown. The Revival and the Hardy Boys have a match. Another match that I'm surprised they did on an episode of Monday Night Raw, which just seems like it would be a pay-per-view match. And I forgot to mention. I was saying how all the other titles, I forgot to mention the Raw Tag Team Championship, what that's looking like for SummerSlam. And yeah, it's looking like that will even be a fatal 4-way tag team match, possibly like some type of elimination match between the Revival, the Hardy Boys, Gallows and Anderson, and Sheamus and Cesaro. That's what they're looking at like that. So that's all 4 title matches on Raw looking like they're headed toward a either fatal 4-way or triple threat match at SummerSlam, which is ridiculous. Anyway, the Revival defeat the Hardy Boys. So the Revival pick up a win. So, and they obviously showed Gallows and Anderson backstage. So that's why I'm like, it looks like they're trying to get all the Raw tag teams, throw them in a match, fatal 4-way, so they can get all the teams on the card. I'd rather just see like maybe the Revival, the Hardy Boys. But then again, neither of them have the titles. I sometimes forget that. I think the Hardy Boys probably should have had the titles maybe right now, and then they would take on the Revival 2-on-2 at SummerSlam, but they want to throw everyone on there. I don't know what the hell they're looking toward. And then Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe. I was hyped for this match. I got real hyped for this Raw, and I don't know why. I was expecting a really good show. And honestly, at the end of the day, I think maybe last week's Raw was better than this week. And I thought this show could be really good. I don't know why I'm surprised that I was let down by this show being kind of shitty. But what can you expect out of WWE? I mean, I felt like the Kurt Angle thing was a letdown. I felt like they kind of really hyped that up to be not as big as what it is. I mean, unless I don't know something goes. Maybe it's still got we got a little bit to see. Maybe there's more to see with this storyline. I don't know. Roman Reigns or Samoa Joe. I was hyped for this match, but then again, I knew Braun Strowman was going to get involved. Everybody knew. It was so predictable. It was a decent match, but then Strowman comes out, and it's just build for SummerSlam. It's just, we're going to have a fatal 4-way match. Lesnar's going to defend the title against Strowman, Joe, and Reigns. So, I'm not going to lie to you, actually. I'm looking forward to that match. I'm okay with Joe, Reigns, Lesnar, and Strowman having a fatal 4-way for the Universal title. There's other matches I'm like, why can't that just be one-on-one? Like the women's title, just do Sasha versus Alexa one-on-one. I'd rather see like the Hardy Boys versus the Revival, even though neither of them have the titles currently, one-on-one for the tag titles. I'm kind of okay with maybe a triple threat for the IC title. But man, they're just like this match here is actually kind of stacked if you think about it. I mean, I like the idea to be behind having a fatal 4-way. because it was originally supposed to be just Strowman versus Lesnar, and then Strowman got hurt, and then they kind of made it seem like it was going to be just Roman Reigns versus Lesnar. And then people started speculating Joe would win the title. He didn't win the title, and now he's back in the picture, and then Strowman's back now, and they don't want to leave Strowman out. So what do? You throw them all in a fatal 4-way. But that ended no contest, so yeah, no one won the match. There's no number one contender, but you know what's going to happen. Next week, they'll all be there. Kurt's going to be like, well, why don't everyone get a shot at the title? Let's have a fatal 4-way match. That's where they'll probably go. Anyway, guys, that's it for Monday Night Raw. Let me know what you thought of Raw below. Did you enjoy the show? Were you let down like I was? I felt like it was a letdown last night. I felt like the show was better than it should have been better than what it was. We got SmackDown tonight. I feel like every week I'm saying, SmackDown's going to be better. It usually is. I feel like SmackDown's never really, great. It's just decent. But Raw is so bad that it makes SmackDown look good. Not that SmackDown is bad, but Raw is just... Raw can be so bad at times that, SmackDown, even a decent episode of SmackDown will be good. And we do get to see the Punjabi prison tonight, so I'm curious to see if they use the original Punjabi prison, or maybe they've altered it, kind of what they did with the Elimination Chamber. Another question I have regarding tonight, if Jason Jordan's on Raw, was there a trade made? Is there a Raw superstar possibly heading to SmackDown? That's a good question I have. I haven't heard anything about it. I'll have to look at the Raw roster to kind of see if maybe there's someone who really hasn't been appearing much lately that could be maybe on their way to SmackDown. If they did do a trade angle here, that would make sense. I mean, it wouldn't make sense for just Jason Jordan to just head over to Raw or whatever. But I think there's a tag match: AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Kevin Owens, and I forget who his partner is. I think Baron Corbin. But another tag match. I feel like SmackDown has tag matches for their main events every week, and it's the same ones, maybe a little different. But that's what we're looking toward tonight for. So probably going to be better than Raw, though. I mean, even if it's just a decent, somewhat good episode of SmackDown, really, it doesn't take a lot to be better than Raw this week, most of the time, too. So SmackDown tonight. That's it, guys. Subscribe on your way out, and do not forget to follow me on Twitter. Link, as always, will be listed in the description below, and I'll see you tomorrow right here on the Glorious Podcast for my SmackDown Live review.